Okay, I'm going to put my first row of decking on. Now I'm using 6 by 5 quarters, and so that gives me 5.5 width by 1 inch thick. So I ripped my first piece because my flashing is going to go down over this. And what I want to do is I want to put a little bit of a bevel on it, so I'm using this little shim, which is 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and I cut a little slot here to fit around this. Get in there nice and tight. Coordinates that way. And I always drill my ends just to save them from splitting. Something you should know about laying this lumber down. If you lay it down, see the grains are going this way. It's actually the grains are cupping up. But when the wood dries, that grain will want to cup down. So when you lay this down, if you want a crown, which is preferable because the rain will run off a crown, where a cup it'll hold the rain and hold the water in there. So you want to put it so that your rings, the cup is facing up, and it'll make a crown out of it. It's just the weird stuff about wood. Okay, this is the piece of decking that goes underneath my door sill, and in order to get my shim under, I glued it to the bottom of the decking piece. Just cut it to fit and put a glue on it. And then I cut a little jig out here for this piece. Okay, before I start laying all my decking, I want to take a couple of measurements and snap a chalk line, make sure that we're running true. So I'm going to take this first measurement from the house out to this piece. 115 3/4. Now see what I get down there. So I got 115 3/4 here, 115 and 7/8 down there. So I'm only off by an 1/8, so that's great. So now I'm going to run a chalk line. Go 1 inch from there. Now I'm just going to take a few measurements. Good. Yeah, I'm within tolerance. Yeah, I'm not going to put a space in between. I'm just going to let it run natural. A lot of people will put a little nail in there, you know, try to keep it around an 1/8 or a 1/16. But I found over the years that, especially in this climate here where it can be hot and dry, these boards will dry out, and that 1/8 of an inch crack will work its way out to be 1/4 of an inch. So I find if I just butt them up loose, I'm not going to hammer them tight or anything. Like here I got a little gap, and I just let them run natural, try to keep them straight, and I haven't had any problem in this climate. Maybe if you're in a really damp climate, you'll want to space your boards apart. When you're screwing these boards down, you want to go about 1 inch from the edge of the board approximately. And you want to sink your screws down level or just below level of the board. And the reason why, up here where we get a lot of snow in the winter, when you're shoveling, if you leave those screws up a little bit, your shovel will hit that every time. I'm going to show you what to do when you get a pretty bowed piece of lumber here. Now, some people will leave the bow in the middle, but that's the hardest way to get it out. I find the best way turn it over, bring one end in, okay, get yourself a crowbar and a piece of wood. All there is to it. A reminder that when you make a cut on your planking, to make sure you seal the ends. Keeps the water out and keeps them from rotting. Okay, before I get too far ahead of myself here with the boarding in, I took some measurements. Down the far end I got 82 and an 1/8 distance, and up here I got 82 and 3/8, so I got a 1/4 of an inch difference from there and here, so which is really easy to fix. All I'm going to do is just I'll slack the joints up here and keep them tight down there, and that way there it'll compensate for that 1/4 of an inch, which really isn't much. And something else I have to do is I have to figure out how many planks it's going to be until I get up there to the side of the house, because I don't want to end up there with like a 1-inch piece. Something like 2 inches and over would be good, because it'd be a nice strong piece at a 16-inch center. So I don't want anything smaller than that. So what I'm going to do is take my measurement, get my pencil out here, and 82, I'm going to put it 82 and 1/4, so that's 82.25, and then I'm going to divide that by the width of my planks, which are 5.5 inches, so that's 5.5. 14.9 boards, so that's great. The last board will be probably around 5 inches, so I just have to rip a little bit off that, so that's going to work out real well for me. Okay, I got one here that's got a bit of a bow in it. I didn't notice it, so what I'm going to do is lock this one here and take one of my trusty wedges. There. 5 inches, right where I want it to be. You know, when you're fastening down a large surface like this and you can't see your joists, some people will snap a chalk line or they'll mark it with pencil, but I find it's good just to use a straight edge, like even like a piece of flat like this, or in this case where I have a big span, I just use a straight piece of lumber, lay it up against that joist up there, bring it down alongside of these screws, and then I know where to place my my screws. When when you're screwing these down, step on the boards that you're putting your screws in. Okay, now that I got my deck just about boarded in, I guess one piece left here to put in. I want to put my flashing up, and what I need is I need the flashing to go underneath the tar paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along this line. Okay, I've gone along and I've pulled out that row of staples. You want to leave about a 6-inch overlap on your flashing there, that's plenty. Now I'll just tack that into place, just using some really tiny nails. Just need to put a few in there because the clapboard is going to be nailed over top of that anyhow. 4 3/4. 4 3/4. 4 3/4. 4 3/4. Make sure you use a dust mask when you're working with this pressure treated wood, especially when you're sawing inside. This is a clear wood preservative. It prevents rotting, insects, stuff like that. Okay, I got my plank into place here, and I got my post, which I want to fit in here, like this, to the edge. I'm going to leave a little space in here. And what I'll do is I'll cut this off flush with there, where so my post can go right flat on there. And the best to do this while you're not fastened down, because once it gets fastened down it's hard to cut in around here with any kind of power tools. There. Now I'll just fasten that down. After you make your cut, make sure you seal your ends.